So if you want to get into getting into those higher parts of yourself, you got to tap in with those ancestors. That's got that knowledge that's going to guide you to the path of how they became who they are. Remember, in the Patakis, in Ifa, it talked about these Orishas being on this planet first. Then they continue to elevate. Okay? A lot of you guys are Orishas. A lot of you guys are Loa. A lot of you guys are something else, and you don't even know who the hell you are. So, for me, the Orishas guided me to my destiny, to get into the quantum part of my destiny. From there, this is when I started learning all kinds of stuff about myself. Then I started tapping in to other cosmic family members that I didn't even know I had. And then I started getting taught and trained. And then from there, it just took it to a whole nother level. Okay? So I'm giving you guys steps. And I want you guys to understand that, first of all, the integration of any of your higher selves is very serious. It's no joke. It ain't nothing to play with when you are integrating with your higher selves. First of all, those versions of yourself carry a certain type of energy that your body has to be able to hold, energetic wise, depending on the frequency that they're operating on. If your body is not able to hold on that energy, you will not integrate with that version of yourself because you have not raised your frequency or expand your consciousness enough in order to be able to hold the energy. Okay? It is imperative that you guys understand this stuff because there's so many people out here that say that you guys think that telekinesis, yes, that's one gift and that's great and all that. And hearing is another gift and smelling is another gift and all that other stuff. And sight is another gift. Yeah, that's great. Okay. All those things are great. But what if I was to tell you that you have a vast amount of gifts than just those 7 that you know about? What about that? What about those? How do you tap into them? How do you tap into the vast knowledge that you actually have access to? How do you tap into your own Akashic records, your own library? How do you tap into that? Your own library of knowledge. How do you really tap into that? Integration is different than just tapping into the aspect. Way different. Way different. First of all, depending on who you are, I'm going to tell y'all something. I didn't even integrate with my main source spark vessel. I didn't even integrate with her until a couple months ago. I had integrated with everybody else named Mama as far as my other aspects. But that one right there, I was getting on one with her about that. I was like, hold up, how you gonna have me integrating with this aspect and that aspect and this one and this one? And let me tell y'all something. Some of your aspects are entire galaxies. Did you know that? My cosmic originals. Some of your aspects are galaxies. Some of your aspects are planets. Some of your aspects are solar systems. Some of your aspects are suns. Some of your aspects are black holes. Some of your aspects, I'm trying to tell y'all some shit. When I talk about tapping into this knowledge, this is pure 100% cosmic knowledge, baby. Pure 100% source ethers. Okay? I'm tapping into source consciousness right now. I want you guys to understand that. So I'm not out here talking just to be talking. I'm talking because I know what I'm talking about. But see, they don't call people like me out to come and speak at their events. They deal with people that talk about the same old shit. You want to know why they do that? Because they're concerned about certain individuals outshining those individuals because maybe those individuals may have more knowledge than them. The white folks will invite me out all day. But when it comes to my own people, they don't reach out. They don't say, Isis, let me have you come and speak at my event here. Let me come. I don't get that from my own community. I get that from the white folk. And that's a damn shame. Because they looking to tap in. Niggas is out here playing loop-de-loop games. loop, or overseas. I'll get invited overseas to go speak overseas because they appreciate the knowledge. But when it comes to my own people, y'all say that, y'all say y'all support, but I'm the type of person that's about proof. The proof is in the pudding. Yep, they scared of you, and they shouldn't be. Smart was saying the same thing. Yeah, you noticed that, right? It'd be the same cliquish ass niggas going from one event to the next. It's the same shit. And when you go to the events, they talking about the same shit they talked about last year and the year before that and the year before that. The same shit and the same folk. You see, I understood at an early age that I didn't fit in with everybody else. And see, you have what you call these pseudo-conscious folks out here. Pseudo-conscious. Okay? These are the individuals that talk, but when they get confronted with real shit, they don't know how to respond to that. Because their consciousness hasn't expanded as much as they portrayed that it does. Okay? When the real pops up, and that's why I named myself, I am the realest to ever do it, because I tell y'all all the time, and people that know me know what time it is. I tell y'all, it's real over here in these cosmic streets. If you come over here, I'm not for the play. So what it is it's okay. Before I approach her, I know I can't come with that bullshit because she's going to see right through that and call me out on my shit. And I don't think I'm going to be ready to hear that. I'm not ready for that yet. I'm still trying to figure myself out, or I like being who I think I am to be where I'm at. But the thing about that is, I'm going to tell you something I noticed about my audience. I'm going to tell you something I noticed about my audience. I'm going to tell you something what I noticed about my followers. You know what I like about y'all? Y'all are just like me. You will speak your mind. You will hold me to task if I'm messing up. If you think I'm messing up, you will hold me to task. But more importantly, your consciousness is expanding and you're learning from me. And I really appreciate that. So you can say that my audience is niche. It's a niche. That's why I tell people I'm not for everybody out here. Because there are conscious speakers out here that are for the world. Those are the ones who are still trying to find themselves, and shouts out to them for them trying to find themselves. At least they're making an effort to try to find themselves. But then there are those who went through that phase already. Who been there, done that, got the t-shirt. And they have done a tremendous amount of healing where they are very authentic within self. And so when you start running into those individuals who are authentic within self, because see, that's what people are looking for. They're not looking for the pseudo-conscious people out here no more. They're not looking for that. They're looking for authenticity. And you know and you feel authenticity when you see and you hear it. It's very direct. It's very straight to the point. You will feel the energy of that. You will feel that energy. And you will know there's a certain level of respect that I command. Not demand, but I command. There's a difference between demand and command. I don't demand respect from nobody, but I know how to command respect. You see the difference? There's an energy that's over me where certain individuals know, okay, I have to approach her. Let me test her. Okay, yeah, I don't know why I did that. I won't do that again. Let me approach her a different way. And they know it's got to be authentic. It has to come straight from the heart space, and it has to be authentic. Because if you're not coming from your heart space, it's no bueno over here. I'm going to know off the rip, okay, you're wearing your mask. You're pretending to be something that you're not. Because I'm feeling your energy. If I can't feel your heart space, or I can't feel your energy, no bueno. You got to get the hell on up out of here. Okay? The grand teacher, much love and respect to you, Mama. I've been a cosmic student of yours for a while. Love you. Love you too, Simply Divine too. Thank you, baby. I teach you guys how to feel when it comes to your discernment. You don't believe your lying eyes, but you will believe what you feel. That's how you discern heart space. Now, Once you tap in with those ancestors and they begin to start guiding you, and you're tapped in with your higher self and they begin to start guiding you to where you got to go by putting you with the correct teachers, that's when the magic really starts to happen for you. Okay? Now, I've designed various different programs to initiate a person to themselves in their totality. Okay? Where they grow. But it's going to require you to put in some work. Hence, quantum shadow work. You ain't hear nobody talking about that type of shit. You heard shadow work, but you ain't never heard quantum shadow work till Isis Wisdom came out and started talking about it. Period. Or when I came out and started talking about them aspects. Niggas weren't even talking about that in the community until I came out and started talking about it first. Okay? I'm going to toot my own damn horn. I'm going to give my own self the credit. But it's more than just you being able to say, I'm such and such, or I'm such and such, or I'm such and such. Nah, fam. Nah, that's not the way that go. That's not the way that go. Because you can know who you are, but not possess the energy of who you are. Not possess the power of the growth, the wisdom, of the knowledge of that version of yourself. If you don't have that, then what are we talking about? You're still a shell at the end of the day. And the aspects that are operating on those levels of consciousness are not going to integrate with you until they see you putting in that work and see that you're getting to the levels that you need to get to. And not to mention, don't even get me started on Source. Because Source will intervene on your ass quick. And some of you guys, a lot of you guys need to start developing your relationship with Source. See, let me tell you how they hid you being able not to communicate to the Most High. By simply taking out the knowledge that the Most High is Source. That's it. That's how they hid it from you. Okay? They hid it from you. Oh, I'll never be able to talk to the Most High. Why not? Who said? Who said you can't talk to Source? Who told you that? Who told you that lie? That you can't talk to Source? Now, they can be picky and choosy about who they're going to talk to. So I want you to understand when I say Source, yes, Ashere, Olodumare, divine masculine, divine feminine, divine masculine, yes, they do talk. However, there's other groups of other beings also that will come forth and speak to you as Source. The 7 source gods may not necessarily communicate to you right away. They may not necessarily communicate to you right away unless they see something about you or you're one of their children or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They may see something about you that you don't know about yourself. They may have given you a specific role that you don't know nothing about. And then all of a sudden, as you're going down your path, and all of a sudden you start hearing from Source. And you're like, hold up. I remember the first time I heard from... My first encounter with Olodumare blew my wig back so hard, fam. I didn't even know how to. I didn't even know how to respond to that. First, I thought I was in the Twilight Zone. I thought I was cracking for a moment. I thought I was cracking. I said, "Oh, this is that. I had heard about this." He's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "That thing when people start saying that they hear from the Most High, but they're not really hearing from the Most High." You know what I'm saying? That thing right there. I think this is what's happening to me. I didn't floated my ass up out of here to the cosmos so far out here, my mind and cracked. And he starts laughing. He says, there you go. There you go. Putting yourself down. Why do you feel like that you have to, why does it have to be all like that? Why can't it be that I just want to speak to who I want to speak to? I said, but we're like a grain of sand compared to you. There you go. Putting yourself down again. I said, it's religious programming. Please forgive me. It's religious programming. You know what I'm saying? So I talked to him for 3 straight years before he introduced me to Ashere. I didn't know about Ashere. So I had the opportunity to be able to speak to him, and I had the opportunity to be able to speak to her. And I'm grateful. But I'm going to tell you something. That experience in my life was crazy because it was in that moment when I first started hearing from him and he first started speaking. And when he speaks, he's very stern. It said, I am that I am. That thing, that whole thing right there. Yeah, it's that. When he speaks, it's so stern and so finite that it's just like, oh, so you really are about that life. You really are that, huh? You know what I'm saying? You start thinking about that. Yes, Amani, yes. If any of you have ever had the opportunity to speak to him and he respond back, and you guys know the sternness in his voice, it is very stern. Okay? Very loving father, but very stern. And it's just like he told me, I think it was yesterday, all of my children can hear me when I speak to them. When I choose to speak to them, there's not a single being on this earth that doesn't hear me when I speak to them. I was like, damn. I'm talking about will startle the crap out of you. Startle the crap out of you in a heartbeat. Speaking to Source on the mountaintop for 3 years. Strong father energy. Yeah. Very straightforward, very direct, very to the point. And don't ask him too many questions either. Don't ask him too many questions. You can get a few questions in. You won't get a few questions in. But then he'll get on that, all right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, go talk to Ashereg, take it to her. You ask him too many damn questions. I'll save it, baby. I'm going to save it. At Venu Mercury, you can speak. Just start talking. That program will get y'all twisted. That program have you thinking, I got to have an intercessor because I'm not clean enough to be able to talk to God. I'm like, what God y'all talking about? You talking about that nigga in the Bible? That ain't the same dude. That's somebody else right there. What y'all talking about? Which God are you talking about? Okay? So don't ever let nobody, tell you that you don't have the ability to speak to the Most High. You most certainly have the ability to speak to the Most High. You an original, you speaking to the Most High. And you're going to get a response. You just didn't know that it was Source, that they were Source. You just didn't know that. Because they hid that. They had a lot of things from the public and then projected to look a certain way and then put it in religion, then cause distortion within the teachings of the great books, and then take information from various different books and put it in here and put it in there, and then say, okay, this is the book of Genesis. Lies. Lies. Let me tell y'all something. When they talk about some of these like Matthew's a whole angel running around out here. They didn't tell you that Matthew was an angel. All those cats you see written in the book, the majority of them are angels. The majority of them are angels. But see, they didn't tell you that because they was taking books out of, like for instance, the book of Enoch. The book of Enoch that you know of today has a lot of distortion in it. A lot of distortion. I'm going to come out and I'm going to teach you guys about some of the things. Like I'll do a compare and contrast and say, okay, they said this, but that's actually not the correct information. It's really this. Okay? I'm going to be doing a lot of that for y'all so you guys can kind of start unraveling a lot of this stuff because a lot of the information, if you know what to look for, is encoded. Or they'll just take information completely out to where you're not able to get any of the information at all. It just really depends on how adept you are. If you're adept, it just really depends. Okay? But once you start tapping in, you're going to start getting the correct information and you're going to start realizing how many lies they told about a lot of different things. And you have a lot of people running around here, running behind false light beings, thinking that they're doing some real teaching. And even though some of these teachings may look like it's something, you don't realize that some of those teachings are like throwing you off kilter just a little bit. Like that's the way Lucifer works. When she's teaching you something, oh, she gonna teach you something, right? I told y'all, I call her the lesson teacher. I don't call her the light bearer because her light is very painful. But I do acknowledge her as a lesson teacher because she is the type of being that you will run into when you are in your darkness. When you think that that's what you want. When you think that you are just malevolent. unhealed, running around here. That's when you run into her. And then she's going to test you just to see how malevolent you really are. That ain't the smoke I advise anybody to deal with. Because that's her playing field. She runs circles around you in that playing field. Have you out here looking crazy. Same with Satan. Them beings right there, that's their playing ground. You start running around in the unhealed zone. Now this is when you're going to start dealing with all those beings who are running around here unhealed, but they're going to run circles around you. Okay? You got to understand, there is also massive intelligence in the darkness as there is in the light. You got to understand that. Satan was the first of the 23 scientists. The first. The one who created the animus. So you got to think about that for a minute. How highly intelligent these beings are. Extremely intelligent. If I was to sit down and tell you a quarter of the shit that I know that dude did and that Lucifer did, your jaw would literally drop to the floor. It would fall out. But their vast levels of intelligence is unlike anything you've ever seen before. No humans is matching those beings when it comes to that. Lucifer used to teach in the angelic realm. And she's an inverted being. She used to be a teacher. She was teaching the angels. She was a teacher first. You know, Sekhmet and Bastet, now you're talking about a total different pantheon, baby. You're talking about a total different pantheon. A whole different set of things was going on during that time period when they were around. Okay? When you start talking about those types of beings in general, just beings in general, I want you guys to understand. This is why I keep telling y'all about the technology that we have on this planet. The technology that we have on this planet